Now, Senator Angus King from Maine. Senator, you're an independent and you represent the middle. Now, want to talk about the budget because Ron Paul on the right, he's made some serious concessions in his most recent budget with spending and tax increases. So, on the other end of this, how would you suggest to President Obama to somehow come and meet him in the middle?
Well, I'm not sure that the budget that's coming out of the House has much in the way of any kind of new revenues to solve the budget problem. It's all cuts. By the way, I think we could learn something from the Vatican. If you lock everybody in a room with 500-year-old plumbing for a couple of days and nobody gets out till it's done, you know, we might get a deal around here.
You know what? I tell you what, I'm all for it. I think that's the most bipartisan thing that will be said all day long. but on the budget situation, you know, it's interesting because obviously the president's taken a different tack here recently. Going into the sequester deal, he sort of went to the people to make his case. The country's not falling apart. Sequestration might have been a ploy, if you will, to sort of put the GOP in a box, but it seems to be working against the president. It might be changing the whole tenor of this debate.
Well, I think, you know, the issue on sequestration is I think the president did sort of overestimate the effects. And what I'm seeing is that it's having serious effects, but in limited populations. For example, there are 4,700 people that work at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard in southern Maine, and they're taking a 20% pay cut. They're taking a day off without pay for the next 22 weeks. And that's a significant impact. I mean, I'm already getting emails from people who aren't going to be able to make their mortgage payments. They're living paycheck to paycheck. So it's going to have a significant effect, but it's not as broad-based. And I think for that reason, you're not going to see the sort of political uprising that perhaps the president and the Democrats were expecting.
But Senator King, you started off this discussion referencing revenue. And there are two schools of thought with respect to that. There's one that we can just go out and take it from people who are very successful, but detractors say, well, ultimately, if you do that, you destroy the golden goose, which has been the American economy. What would your suggestion be, back to the original question, to the White House to sort of come to find some sort of mutual ground where they could maybe strike something of a grand bargain?
Well, I think the first thing I want to say is that I myself am a thoroughgoing capitalist. I started a business in the late 80s, was very successful, and so I certainly believe in the American dream and the opportunity to have a successful business. On the other hand, what we're talking about is how to solve this deficit problem, which everybody agrees is a serious problem, in a way that makes sense, that makes sense in terms of the economy. And I think what we're talking about now in the Budget Committee, I'm on my way back right now, is half cuts to programs, including entitlements, and half revenues, not by raising taxes, but by going back and looking at the tax code for all those deductions, exclusions, and those kinds of things, which, by the way, if you add all those up today, it's over $1 trillion a year, and it hasn't really been examined since 1986. All those things that go in one day, they stay forever, and that's where I think we need to look at a balance. Overall, if you go back to 2011, it's 60% cuts and about 35%, 40% revenue.
We've got to wrap it up, but I got to tell you, it sounds like a real logical, smart thing. On your way back, just cut off the water in the building, and maybe you guys will get somewhere. We appreciate your time this morning.
Yes, absolutely. We're working on it.
Okay, thanks a lot. Well, you guys know this white smoke, it billowed from the Sistine Chapel chimney yesterday.